Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy freaking Monday. Number one, hey guys, we're going to be having a lot of participation today, so I'm going to need some role play partners. Today. So if you're down to role play, make sure that your camera's on, so that way we can interact, ask some questions, so that way we can tailor some things, geared towards whatever industry that you're in. So, number one, welcome to Sales 360. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jesse Cloud, and I'm just curious. If this is your first time here, put a 1 in the chat, or just simply raise your hand. I can see your beautiful faces. If this is your first time here. Okay, Liza, let's go. Let's check out the chat. Okay, Garrett, James, come on. Hayden, let's go, baby. I see you, bro. Let's go. I love it. Frank, let's get it. Beautiful. All right. It gets crazy, guys. You know how when we log in, there's a million people. Like just for me sitting here, there's 10 more people just requested to join. So I'm spamming the button, getting everybody in. But for those of you that was on the call, not last week, but the week before, we was talking about your smart work, which was homework. I don't like homework. I like smart work, right? So I tricked my brain into doing smart things instead of homework, because I hated homework in school, right? So our smart work last week was on building rapport and trust. So if you didn't get to watch that video, I highly recommend going on your platform, so that way you could check out that call, building trust and rapport. And the homework, smart work, was to, the next 3 new prospects that you come across, note the differences in responses to them from the rapport building techniques that we did. So if you want to get better at prospecting and building rapport, I highly recommend you go check out that call. It was super informative, and I broke down a lot of different ways, no matter what industry you're in. So I'm glad you're all here. This week, this is week 4. This is week 4 of an 8-week sales and mindset curriculum that I have built out. And today, this is what we're going to title our paper, Nick. This is what we're going to title our paper, Dustin. It's going to be week 4, presenting with power. Presenting with power. So, with that being said, there's a lot of different ways when it comes to presenting. There's ways where it's over the phone, it's on a Zoom, it's live in person. So I've just grabbed a few things that I'm going to share with you guys in multiple different industries. So when we ask for participation later, we'll be able to connect and, maybe do some things for your specific industry. So with that being said, I'm glad you're all here. I'm super excited. We got a bunch of new faces. Nico, I see you. Let's go. Super glad to have you here. Kevin, you're a savage. I've been seeing your face a lot here recently. And let's just dive into it, guys. All right. The first thing that we're going to talk about today is, number one, I want to teach you guys how to deliver a high impact presentation. So write that down. How to deliver high impact presentations. And once you get done right, and I know a lot of people, I go pretty fast. I could go really fast, but the whole goal is I want to kind of slow this Zoom call down for you guys, so that way you have time to take the notes. So I'm going to go a little bit slower, and if you guys need me to slow down, that's totally cool. We can do that today. So the first thing here, Jonathan, I appreciate you. Let's mute you. There you go. The first thing, right, is going to be mindset. The mindset you're going to have is going to be owning the room. Well, what does that mean? Mindset, own the room. I'm going to own the room. Let's say if I'm in a car dealership and I have an entire office around me, I have an entire dealership. If I'm on a Zoom call and I'm doing the presentation there, if I'm on the phone call, I'm going to own it. And what I mean by own it is being the true professional. What does that mean? Well, for me, if I was going to present something to somebody, the number one thing that I would ask myself is how How, Cowboy Zach, am I going to prepare? How am I going to prepare myself that's going to bring the confidence and eliminates all of my fear? So you got to think. There's one guy over here, Ashley, and then there's another guy over here. This guy over here just goes into the call. He wings it. He doesn't really have a system that he's following. This guy over here asked the great questions before we even set up the appointment with the guy. Now his preparation is tailored towards specifically what that guy needs, and if not, it's kind of the same every single time. Which guy is going to have less fear? Obviously the one that's prepared. Obviously the one that took time out of his day to prepare what he was going to be presenting. The next thing what I would write underneath this is visualization. Visualizing the techniques, how you're going to present it, how you're going to speak about it for when you're presenting with the max amount of confidence. Actually visualize how the process is going to work. So if there's only some people that's having 3 or 4 presentations a day, you have plenty of time to just think, what's going to happen? How are you going to take them down this funnel to obviously get them to do business with you on your product or service? How is it going to go? Thinking about that. Like, for those of you that's been training with us for a while, there's people that play chess and there's people that play checkers. Obviously, the people that play chess is going to be way ahead of the people that play checkers because the little checkers is just one move at a time. Chess, you're thinking your next 5 moves ahead. That's the same thing that happens when we're visualizing where we're going to take our clients when we're doing our presentation. So, the next thing, write this down. 5 steps ahead. That's right. Let's go, Shadir. Come on. Structuring a winning sales presentation. How do we structure that? So, no matter what industry that we're in, if we structure it, number one, people have problems. We have solutions to their problems. And we also need to have a framework to help fix their problems. So, remember, a problem, solution, and results framework. That's what we're going to have when structuring a winning sales presentation. So, while all you guys are writing this down right now, put in the chat, what industry are you in? Because I want to see, who do I have today? We've got over 50 people on the call right now. Who do I have today? So drop in the chat. Okay, thank you. We've got solar. We got window replacement, real estate, mining engines, HVAC, automotive, law enforcement, thank you, car sales, mobile coffee services, roofing, fitness, food industry. Let's freaking go. Network marketing, new home sales, event venue, engineering consultant, professional AV. I love this. This is great. Farming. Let's go, Ashley. Come on. Life insurance, fitness. Anything different. Anything. Software. I love it. I love it. This is great. This is great. Solar, car sales. Beautiful. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, when you're presenting something, maybe if you're in solar and you're going and you have if you're a closer and you had a setter set your appointment, or however that little deal works, maybe you're closing and setting your own deals. What's the problem that these people don't even know that they have? What's a solution for you to solve their problem? And then what's kind of like the results of the framework where you make it make sense to them, where you're the professional, where you're the person that's the trusted advisor that's going to walk them through the process. Here's something else. I would write this down. The next thing is how to lead with the customer's pain points, not the product features. How do we lead with the customer's pain points? Not explaining to them how awesome solar it is, but maybe their bill's a little bit higher than they want to pay. Let's do an automotive one. Maybe not leading with the safety, the fuel economy, the gas mileage, all this stuff on the car, but seeing that, comfortability, legroom, and space is something that's important to the family of 5. Customize this. I want you guys to get creative. with this. I know we have a lot of different industries, so I want to give you a lot of different points, Alan. I appreciate you. I want to give you guys a lot of different points to where you can create your own. So that way you can create your own problem, solution, and framework for your specific industry. Okay? That's why I want to give you a well-rounded view. So, now we've talked about what we need to do. What do we not need to do? Okay? This is a good one. I want to share with you guys like what we don't need to do. Okay? The first thing that we need to do is if we're presenting, like if we have a Zoom appointment, if we have a phone call, I wouldn't send over the presentation to the clients, because guess what? Now they just have the presentation, but they don't have you there walking them through it step by step, asking them questions. And if they can just get all the information, Nico, why do they need to get on the phone with you? Now they're definitely just going to think about it. And people now, like a lot of people, they've been so, ever since COVID and people had to wear the weird mask and stand 6 feet apart, a lot of trust has died down. And if you go back to week 2 of my Zooms, we talked about trust and building it. So I would go back and watch that one too. We're leading up. We're leading up. We're leading up. So don't give them your silver bullet right out the gate. Don't do that to them, because they need explanation. They need to see that you're a real human being and you're not just there trying to sell them or close them. So that's a big no-no. Never give it out. Never give it out. Never give them your silver bullet. The next thing. This is awesome. We're at 60 people already. Still letting people in. Let's freaking go. Let's go. So now we know what we don't need to do. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, Matthew. Any great salesperson doesn't present at a prospect. They don't present at a prospect. They present to the prospect. The best presenters in the world, they talk to the people. They're not just vomiting product and features and all this, da, da, da. They don't speak at the people. They speak to the people. That's super important. So during your presentations, don't be the one that's speaking at the people. Speak to them. It's like Andy when he talks about, in a car dealership, when you're sitting down beside somebody, you go up behind, you really need, presenting it to them. Not just babbling and spilling features everywhere. Present to the person. So I'll give you guys an example. I'll give you an example of, we'll go to the automotive industry because I had like 6 guys said they're in the automotive, right? So what that looks like is, let's just say there's a car salesman and he's presenting at a prospect. Well, let's say he says something like this. Okay, here's the SUV, here's the V6 engine, it's got the panoramic sunroof, getting all fitting 7 people. It comes with 3 doors. There's a lot of different colors you can choose from, lighter colors, darker colors. This vehicle gets 22 miles a gallon, 30 on the city. It's one of the most safest cars in its class. That's good information, but the problem is the salesperson is dumping features everywhere, vomiting without connecting and hooking with the customer's needs. And that leaves the client disengaged. That leaves them disengaged and not involved. Okay? Now, I see some of you guys writing. I love that. Now, we're going to talk about presenting to the prospect. Let's just say the same guy selling a car, this is what it looks like. Can you guys picture loading up this SUV on your next road trip with the entire family? And literally, it sits 7 of you guys all comfortably. It does have the panoramic sunroof. Everyone can enjoy the view. But what's more important to you guys? Is it maximizing the fuel economy? Is it having the best safety features for your kids? What colors do you tend to like, darker or lighter colors? Do you prefer something a little bit darker or maybe a little bit lighter? Can you guys see the difference? Can you see the difference when you're speaking to these people? It's saying roughly the same thing, but saying it at them and then saying it to them. So literally in the last one that I demonstrated it to you guys, the salesperson was involved in the family. He was asking them questions. He was connecting, and he was framing the presentation around their specific needs. And now they're engaging with each other instead of him just throwing all the information at them. He's talking to them. What's important? Finding their hot buttons. That's the difference. That is the biggest difference. So I want you to think right now, okay, my last presentation, my last phone call, my last client, was I just vomiting all this information on them, or was I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right step. I like what you're saying, Jesse. I'm on the right path. That's how we need to self-audit ourselves. We need to audit ourselves. Ask yourself, we're going to take the time right now. Where are we at? How are we doing? Okay, we're on the right path. Okay, I'm doing good. I'm not just puking products on everybody. I'm actually, okay, I'm on the right path. That's good. Beautiful. And when you're presenting, to the prospect, you're building trust, you're building connection, and that makes the product personally relevant, more relevant to that person. And when you can do that, you're dramatically increasing your closing percentage every single time, no matter what it is. So you only solve the people's problems with your presentation. That's what the presentation is for. Your presentation every single time should be solving the person's problems, period. I'll say that again. Your presentation should be solving the problems of your client. Okay, I love how many note takers we have. This is super good. And always remember, guys, whatever is written is going to be retained. So I love it. Check this out. Check this out. While we're going, let's say that you're presenting virtually. Let's say you're presenting virtually and you're on a Zoom call with these people. It's super, super important, Nico, that you want to check in and get commitment throughout your presentation. Like, one of the worst things that we could do is present for 15 minutes without stopping and not asking your client, hey, what are your thoughts? Is this something that's important to you to have? Is it something that's important to you to have something like this in place? Like if you're doing life insurance, hey, is this something that's important to you to have something like this in place? I love it. I love it. Nils, we're about down to where we're going to start Q&A, so you'll be the first one. You can leave your hand up if you want. That's totally cool. I remember to call on you. Remember this. Let me let some more people in here. Okay, they're in. Remember this. Every time that you get to do a check-in, when you're doing the presentation, you check in, it's literally a question to enlict that the facts that they're going to do business with us today. You're literally checking back in and reminding them that they're going to be doing business with you today. So if they don't object to anything that you're saying to them, that's great. Just move on. Just move on. And now, this is something, before I forget this, I want to talk about future-based questions. So write this down. Future-based questions. All right, we've got future-based questions. I'm going to give you one. So, Jimmy, when you get to, let me run this down. Okay, Jimmy, when you get started with us today, what's most important to you? Like, so that way we could dive in and set up a gameplay for the next, 30 days for you. Is it this, or this? I'm assuming that he's going to join us. And then guess what? If he's like, well, Jesse, I don't know yet. Okay, cool. Now, if he objects to it while we're presenting, we stop presenting. If he objects, we overcome whatever objections that he has. We answer the questions, and then we keep on going. We keep on going. Now, this is something that's super important. The best salespeople are the greatest storytellers. I would write that down. The best salespeople are the greatest storytellers. And I'm not talking about lying. I'm not talking about making up some shit. I'm talking about painting a picture to these people where it's like a bridge from where they're at to where they're trying to go. The power of stories to make the power is in telling your stories to make your presentations memorable. Here's something that's super cool. Here's something that's super cool. So let's just plan it like this. So when we're teaching storytelling, there's a formula. It's like conflict, climax, and then resolution. Conflict, climax, and resolution. I'm going to give you guys conflict, climax, resolution. I'm going to give you guys a gym analogy. Let's say it's somebody that's overweight that wants to, lose 30 pounds and get back to where they can play with their kids comfortably. Okay, cool. John, what we find out is like a lot of our guys that's doing business with us, it's hard to find the time. And then also like when they do get into the gym, they don't really know what exactly to do while they're at the gym. That's conflict. The beautiful thing about it is our coaching program. We actually walk you down step by step so that way you're not clueless when you go to the gym. You literally just have to look at your app on your phone and it shows you exactly what workouts to do. Climax. And the last one, you guys remember it? The last one. That way, in the next 90 days, the weight, the way you're going to feel, and how you're going to look at yourself in the mirror, it's all going to be worth it from the work that you put in. There's the resolution. Now, how can we tie this into your industry? Think about that. Think about that. I want you guys to write this down so that way we can come back to it. You can come back to it after this call. How can we tie this into what you do? A great presenter always presents in threes. Okay? Jimmy, hey man, listen, there's three main things. There's three main things that I need you to take away from us having a conversation today. And whatever the three main things is in your industry, have them. The first one, the second one, and the third one. Jimmy, there's three main things that I need you to take away from our conversation today. And then you give it to them. What is your three main things? And remember, I've said this before, we're only presenting to their problems. They're only presenting to their problems. So there's a thing too. It's called the 3 S's, right? It's a simplicity, service, and system. Simplicity, service, and system. So simplicity. Simplicity is literally keep things clear and straightforward. Avoid overwhelming them with too much information. Focus on solving the biggest problem that they have efficiently, right? That's simplicity. Service, putting others first. Generally help the customers by focusing on what they need and then delivering to that specific need. And also, service is one of the most important things in any company or any business. The reason being is, let's say that, there's a client. Let's say I have a client and he's on one of our training programs. Maybe it's 10 o'clock at night. He's been working his butt off. He just finished all the homework and the smart work that I give him to do. Now he's like, hey, what do I need to do next? He shoots me a text message. If it took me 3 days to get back to him, that's not top quality service. But if he texted me and said, hey, what do I need to do next? Boom. And I send it to him right away. That's service on the spot. That's taking care of your people fast. Taking care of them ASAP. And the third one's going to be system. The third one's going to be systems, right? System. Build a process that literally works every time. Like, build a process or a funnel that you can follow every single time. Systems, remember this, systems create consistency. And consistency eliminates the guesswork. Okay? Consistency eliminates guesswork. Make success scalable and reliable. So when I have somebody enter our training programs, I give them 20 different things that they need to do in order. And when they complete all of that, guess what I know? I know that they're serious. I know that because when I get somebody into our coaching programs, I say, awesome, whatever is written is going to be retained. Everything that you train on, Nick, you should be writing it down because whatever's written is retained. I want you to send me the notes when you complete it. So now I know they're actively doing the work. And when they reach out as a coach, let me just have this analogy with you. Did anybody play sports at all? By show of hands? Okay, nearly everybody on the call. I played football for 13 years. If I was a football coach and we had the summer workouts, a lot of people was late, a lot of people didn't show up, a lot of people bitched and complained about it. But if I'm a coach and I see this guy, he shows up to every workout earlier. He runs more sprints when he doesn't have to. He's doing all these things that's just extra. As a coach, who am I going to want to spend more time on? The person that's the most dedicated. So when I'm coaching somebody now and I see that they're sending me the notes, I see that they're sending me stuff where they're having progress, I see that they're winning and they're on fire, I want to talk to that person more because I see them put in the work. That's how I look at things. The more I can get out of somebody, the more I want to give to them. Because you give them a silver platter with all the stuff that they need, but a lot of people, if they don't have a game plan and they're not fired up and they're not staying on top of you telling them what you're doing, you're going to give that time to somebody else. That's just a quick little analogy. I love coaching people. I love coaching people that has feedback, that's sending me the notes, that's doing the work. So simplicity, service, and system. Don't forget that. Simplicity, service, and system. And before we get into, we'll jump into some questions here in a second. Connecting people with stories and analogies. Like I just connected you guys with the football coach and the player that shows up earlier. I connected you guys with stories and analogies, and when you can connect a story with an analogy, the person that you're talking to remembers. That's a little brain trick. I don't know exactly what the words are that goes on in your brain, but when you connect stories and analogies, that makes it etched in somebody's brain where it's more likely for them to remember that. So, how would we prepare to eliminate all the objections that somebody has? How could we do that before we even get on a call? So, how would we eliminate maybe a money objection for certain industries? Well, if your presentation makes them feel like they're spending money and not investing the money that they're spending into themselves, they're going to give you an objection. So if somebody's going to sell me, but I feel like it's just going to cost me money, but the real cost is the information that they know that I may not know that I need to get sharp on. So now I'm not just spending money, I'm investing into me. You guys see the difference there? There's a huge difference on how it's interpreted for each individual customer. So here's another little word track that you could use, right? For instance, Mr. Customer, there's only 3 reasons why people buy from us. Number 1, it's the investment. Number 2, it's the time. And it's number 3, where they stand on the skills and the confidence inside of their business. That's the 3 reasons why they buy with us. That's why they do it. So we design this for people that wants more time. I'm going to paint another analogy. I'm going to show you guys an analogy. I'm going to paint this picture. So there's people that drive for Uber. They drive for Uber 24 hours in a day, right? But those same people that drive for Uber, they can't go to their calendar and add 2 more hours and get 26 hours in a day. They have the same amount of hours as the people that owns Uber. So they can't add the time to their day. But the people that owns Uber, that started Uber, they hired people to drive for Uber. And that, for frees up their time so they don't have to drive. And then now they're $1 billion company. So there's two different ways where we can get our time back. Where we can get our time back is, number one, if you want to get your time back in your life, recruit, hire somebody to take on the roles that you're doing, so that way you can get some time back in your life. But a lot of us on here, we don't own companies, right? So if that's the case, we take ownership. We take ownership of every aspect possible. This means recognizing that everything in your life, your success, your failures, your relationships, and the results, it literally boils down to the choices. It boils down to the choices you make and the actions that we take as individuals. That's what it comes down to. So, you must eliminate excuses. Stop blaming external factors. We take control, we take responsibility. It's our fault. That's what a leader does. And we fully commit to aligning our time and our actions with our purpose and our goals. So if there's things that we're doing right now that doesn't align to our purpose, it doesn't align to our goals, what are we doing? Now we need to self-audit. Now we need to self-audit and see exactly where we're at. Because taking ownership, yes, it requires discipline. It requires discipline to make setting up the priorities, enhancing uncomfortable growth, and maintaining laser focus on what matters, what truly matters to that person. What truly matters to you. Stay in laser focus. So, before we get to engaging with all of you guys, you can use, for instance, if you're presenting something to somebody, you can use case studies to eliminate, if they have maybe a skill set, they don't think they're worth it. You could use case studies. And there's one study, you guys could look it up. It's called the Law of 100. Or the Rule of 100, the Law of 100. And some of you guys know it from me talking about it. But let's just say the Rule of 100 states that if you spend 100 hours in 1 year, which is literally 18 minutes a day, you're going to be 95% better at that discipline than 95% of the people in the world. And you think, holy shit, look it up. Look up the Rule of 100 or the Law of 100. It literally states that. And now I'm like, oh shoot, man. What if I do an hour a day? What if I do this? That's the key. Consistency compounded over and over and over and over and over again. So you guys look that up. The Law of 100. I think that's what, or the Rule of 100. Look that up.